everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm David with Softron. Now today we have the xMac Studio from Sonnet here, but this is a little bit special because this is the new DV model. Now why this module is important is because it actually has two Thunderbolt ports connecting to different video cards. Now other models have only one Thunderbolt connected to multiple cards, and the problem is you can run into bandwidth limitations. But this new model allows you to have two different PCI slots connected via two different Thunderbolt cables. So let's take a look. I'm going to put together the Mac Studio inside of this, and then we're going to put a video card, two video cards inside as well. So first off, we have these screws right here, very easy to take off. Okay, so that's going to allow us to remove this front plate. And we need that because we're going to put the Mac Studio inside. So let's put that aside for now. I'm going to grab my Mac Studio. All right, and it's just going to slide here through the front. Okay, that's secured in there. Now, it's kind of cool to see how this is working because there is a power button right here. So let me turn it around. And you can see when you're hitting that power button, there's actually a mechanism back here that will hit that power button for you. Now we're going to put the faceplate back on. And granted, I'm doing this backwards. So it shows you how easy it is to put together. And I've never done this before, so you can see it's pretty simple. Sonnet did a good job putting these together. I like these new Duomodo modules. If you don't know, the Echo 2 DV is a module, which means you can actually swap it out for different modules if you wanted to. So if you do have something like the Echo 1 or Echo 3, you can actually just buy just the Echo 2 DV module. You wouldn't have to replace the entire piece. That's why I think these are pretty cool versus something like the xMac Mini Studio was built only for the Mac Mini and only had what it had inside. This one, you know, change it if you need to. Oops. All right, this one, without seeing, somewhere down there, I'm gonna guess right there. Ah, that's 10 points for me. Okay, so our Mac Studio is inside. Now, the DV module itself, let's take that out. I'm going to show you. I'll turn it around again. And we have these three silver screws. And that is what's keeping the module in. And actually, if you see, this is what I'm talking about. We have the two different Thunderbolt slots here. So that's how we're getting that double the bandwidth. So you'll have two Thunderbolt cables, which is also supplied by Sonnet. Those two Thunderbolt cables going to your Mac Studio. Okay, let's turn this around. Okay, so now we can just take this module out. I can just push on the back, push it forward, and now it's moving. All right. Okay, I'm just going to move this aside for a moment so you can see inside. So here's that Echo 2 DV up close. We have the two fans up here. We have the two different cables because these are two different PCI expansion slots, like I mentioned, and those are the areas for the PCI cards. And if we look on the back, so there you can see it. Those Thunderbolt ports, and it is labeled as far as which one goes to the computer and which one is going to be an added peripheral. Now, if you're talking about broadcast video, you really don't want something daisy chained to your video card because that's going to take away the bandwidth. So for this application, I want to use that peripheral device. You just want to have your video card going straight to your Mac Studio. All right, I have two different video cards I'm going to install. The first one is the DeltaCast 12G4C. This is the one we offer with the M8 bundle, and so I'm going to put this in there. Oh, as in any PCI slot, what's the first thing you have to do? You have to remove the covers. So let me get a screwdriver. Okay, so it's much easier to put a video card in when you have a screwdriver to remove the PCI cover. Yikes. So let's take this out. All right, so I've removed the PCI covers, and now I'm going to install my DeltaCast 12G4C. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time. And it goes in well. Show you one more. So, it's just a little hard to do backwards, but I'll bring it closer to you so you can see where I'm going. So that feels good. You can see it's installed there. And now I'm going to get a Decklink 8K Pro. I'm going to put that on the bottom slot. Maybe I'll do it like that so it's a little easier to see for both parties. Right about there. There we go. All right. So there's our two video cards. Again, the DeltaCast 12G and the Decklink 8K Pro. This time you're going to see it from the back. I'm going to put this in here. There we go. And so we'll just put those screws back on. Okay. Now, before I put this back up and run the cables, one thing I wanted to show was here, this little grill, and so this is allowing cables to go through, so you can have storage underneath your Mac Studio, and so if you had something like a little NVMe SSD inside, or maybe just a simple little SSD device, external device, you could put it under there, and then you can run those cables through and then kind of pin them down so they're not going to be going anywhere. And so you're still going to have the power for your Mac Studio, and then we're going to have the power for the PCI slots as well. All right, so for cabling this up, like I said, the Sonnet does include the two Thunderbolt 3 cables for this model, and I like it actually has these little thumb screws. And the one we want to plug into is right here. You can see it's a sign of the computer. So I'm going to do this backwards. If I can pull this off, I'm going to win another 10 points here. I'm so close. Aha! Usually that part's not difficult, but I am doing it backwards and looking in a mirrored image. So, sorry everyone. Okay, so that's screwed in. And now I can just run these Thunderbolt cables over here to, over there to the Mac Studio. Again, doing it backwards. All right, run my power. Now I'm running my power across the desk. Obviously, that's not how it would look in a rack, and bear with me here, folks. But it does have the rack ears. It does have the extendable back rack depth arms, and I believe that goes up to 24 inches. I'll double check myself, put a graphic if I'm wrong. That is installed. Then I need my power cable here for the Sonnet chassis. Also misplaced that. All right, now I'm gonna plug in the Sonnet chassis. Let's turn it on. So I can hear the cards running now. I'm gonna turn it around gently so I don't scratch up my desk here. So we have our Mac Studio, which we can see here. We still have access to those two front. Now this is the Mac Studio Max, which means those are the two front ones are USB-C, but with the Mac Studio Ultra, those two would also be Thunderbolt. And then we have the SD reader there, and we see the two lights here indicating there is a connection there. So that's awesome. Let me get a monitor set up so I can see what I'm doing. All right, hooking up my monitor. I just realized I don't have a mouse and keyboard. Okay, so we have the Studio display hooked up to the Mac Studio, and I have my 2 Thunderbolts going into the video cards, and so we have 8 connections on the DeltaCast and 4 on the DeckLink 8K Pro. And we can see that the video is coming in. I'm getting that on my movie recorder screen right here. Now, it's important to know that the 2 cards still are hooked up by a Thunderbolt cable, as I've shown, and that Thunderbolt cable limit still applies in this scenario. So that 2 channels of 4K 60 still counts per card. So you wouldn't get the full 4 channels of 4K 60. However, in this new form factor, it's nice that you can have those 2 cards, have the 2 Thunderbolt cables, and you can get the 4 channels of 4K 60 inside of this 3-rack unit. So I think this is going to be a great option for a lot of broadcasters because when I had set up with the Mac Studio Ultra, I had 5 Sonnet chassis, the desktop mount version, and so that it's quite a large setup, but I did have 10 channels of 4K 60, and we know the machine can do it. So I think this setup is really nice with these modules because then we can have 2 cards inside of here, hook it up to your studio, and you're going to get that bandwidth, to get the multiple channels of 4K 60. So I really like what they've done with this. Like I said, they have the USB slots up front. They have the under storage for the SSD. The power button, I think they did a good job on this model because it has a good spring on it. It's very easy. You saw me put it all together backwards and looking at a mirrored image. I really like it. It's quiet. It's definitely solid. It's a little bit heavy, but of course, it's got to protect it. But I think they did a great job putting this together, and I think a lot of people will be really happy with it, and I'm very happy with it. So thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel as we show more features of our products, or we show features like this from Sonnet. And you can always reach out to us at softshine.tv. Thanks for watching.